Welcome to Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living. Join each week on a journey toward overcoming life's many challenges to achieve peace, empowerment, and positive transformation. It's time to relax, unwind, and transform your life.
Hello, everybody. This is Amy Sherman, and I am a licensed mental health counselor, a dating and relationship coach, and the author of 99 Things Women Wish They Knew Before Dating After 40, 50, and yes, 60. And I am today hosting WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living Show. Welcome, everyone. You know, over the years, I'm sure that many of you have built up resentments and hostility towards other people because they may have done you wrong. They may have hurt you, caused you a lot of pain and anger. And, you know, it does take its toll on you with physical and emotional distress. Perhaps you were even hurt so badly that the memories are just too difficult to even go over. And the situation is maybe even beyond what you think you can repair. But, you know, today we're going to talk about forgiveness. And it's a broad topic, but it's a very important topic because we all experience this. Many times we are hurt, and many times we just can't get past that pain. So today we're going to talk about the possibility of gathering up enough courage and insight to give yourself a special gift, and that gift is the gift of forgiving. And it's a process, so we're going to talk about that process. You know, forgiveness is something you do for yourself and for your own well-being. It's not for anybody else. It's really just for you. It's a gift you give to yourself, and it's a gift that helps you make peace with your past and brings you harmony to your present. And that's important because we are living in the present. We're not living in the past. And when we bring all this pain and anger and resentment and grudges with us into the present, you know that causes a lot of problems, which we'll talk about. So why should you forgive? Well, because you, and I capitalize that, Y-O-U, capital, you will receive the benefits. A person who's able to forgive is really free to love other people and yourself. You know, just think about it. When you are angry at someone, you get jaded. You don't trust anymore. You feel everybody is going to be like that and hurt you the same way. How can you love anybody? Forgiveness does not mean you forget either. It doesn't mean that you forget what was done to you. It's really just a decision to let go of resentments, the pain and the hurt, as well as any of the thoughts of revenge that you may have. So it doesn't mean you're forgetting or denying the pain that you experienced. It just means you're releasing the grip that this memory has over your life and focusing on more positive facets of your life, which is going to enhance your well-being, obviously. I keep repeating this really because forgiving doesn't mean that you're denying the other person's responsibility in hurting you, and it doesn't minimize it. You really forgive for yourself because it brings value to you. So here's what happens. Let's just go over this in a minute and explain what happens when you can't forgive. So when you can't let go of the hurt and anger, this will build up into resentments and grudges. And that memory or that feeling takes hold of you. It grows. It encompasses your whole life and all of your thoughts. Resentments make it difficult for you to enjoy your present life, and I'm sure you could relate to some of those things. It defines who you are, and it even defines how you act towards other people. Grudges are like a mental poison, and that doesn't really hurt anybody else but you. So when you hold on to a grudge, it makes you bitter, and that depletes, you know, all your strength and reduces your overall well-being. You know, think about it. You know if you are resenting and somebody who has hurt you, how it impacts you in other aspects of your life. So let me ask you this. How do you know you're holding on to a grudge? So here are some behaviors that you may be familiar with, and if you could relate to it, so take note of this. So the first one is passive-aggressive behavior, and that's often very subtle, and this behavior is focused on getting back at the person that you're angry at in a very subtle way. So it's not obvious, but it's kind of puts the knife in the guts kind of thing. You know, in other words, you may be holding back necessary information because you want to get back at them, or there may be some violences when you're around them, you know, or you may say, oh, nothing's wrong, I'm okay, when you're actually really angry. These are all passive-aggressive behaviors. Can you relate to that? I'm sure some of you can. Here's another one, sarcastic remarks. And these are remarks that indicate there's still a strong emotion behind, what you're thinking, even though you may be saying, oh, I was just kidding. How many of us have experienced that and have done that? And the third one are short, abrupt comments. These comments mean that you're a little ticked off. You kind of say it very quickly. You say it with a little tone. You say it with a demeanor about you. They're usually delivered with a certain intonation in your voice. Again, how many of you can relate to that? So if you feel that you are, you have these intrusive thoughts, if you feel that you are experiencing some of these same qualities and characteristics that I just talked about, then you are likely developing a grudge for this other person. And, it just makes it harder for you to work on developing a more forgiving attitude. And it makes it harder for you to ultimately let go. I have relatives who have not spoken to each other in 20 years. I mean, I say that's crazy. At least try to broach the topic, try to make amends, see if you could get past what has gone on. It seems absurd to hold on to a grudge, which, at this point is meaningless if it happened 20 years ago. So you think about that if it relates to your life as well. So as I said before, forgiveness is really a decision to let go. You want to let go of all the resentments you have, all the pain that you have, the hurt that you have, and all thoughts of revenge that you may have as well. Through forgiveness, you really have a better understanding, that nobody is perfect. We all make mistakes, and maybe this person who wronged you is sorry for it but doesn't know how to tell you. So it's really up to you. It enables you to come to terms with the inner pain that you're experiencing. And it also lets go of any of the distress and the discomfort that you feel. You are able, when you forgive, to take back control of your life and get rid of those hateful thoughts, those resentful, those angry, all those bitter, negative thoughts, so that you can get on with your life. So here are some points I want you to understand. So you forgive because it has value to you, regardless of whether the other person deserves to be forgiven. It's about regaining your personal power, and that's very important. That is something, take a note of that. It's about you regaining your personal power. So you forgive because it really feels good inside to forgive. It also makes you a bigger, better person, which, that also, it feels good. Remember, it feels good to feel good throughout your lifetime. And when you're not feeling good, it's because something has happened. And that's not a good way to live your life, by feeling bad about something. So in order to feel good and to get on with your life, you really need to let go. Let it go, let it go, and let it go. When you let go, you really experience a kind of emotional and a spiritual peace and a healing. So the offense that has happened to you loses its power over you, and it stops being the object of all of your thoughts. And it's something, again, you do for yourself. It's not something you're doing for the other person. It is ultimately an internal decision, and it's an internal process that you have to go through. Now, keep in mind, you may forgive somebody today, and tomorrow you may have to do it again, and the next day, and so on, because it may not stick with you for whatever reason, and eventually, hopefully, it will. With forgiveness, you give up playing the powerless victim or the powerless role of victim. And the sense of personal power really does enable you to rise way above this painful event. You feel so good about yourself that it becomes not a part of your future, but it becomes a part of your personal history, your past personal history. In other words, when you gain your personal power back by forgiving somebody, it becomes history to you now. Well, this is what happened to me. It was a terrible thing, and I'm sorry that it happened to me, but you know what? I'm moving on in my life. So you become your own ally, an agent of change for your life, and it introduces you to a new way of experiencing hurtful events in the future. So if anybody should hurt you again in the future, you could say, okay, I'm not going to get into it again. I'm going to let go. So the conscious act of forgiving will actually increase your self-esteem, reduce your anger, and reduce any anxiety you may be experiencing because of this. We're going to take a short break and then get back to talking about forgiveness. This is WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, and this is a divorce, dating, and empowered living show with Amy Sherman. We'll be right back.
Welcome to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. This is an inspirational Fabio Minute. Maybe this year we ought to walk through the rooms of our lives not looking for flaws, but looking for potential, by Ellen Goodman. Stay tuned for more inspirational minutes on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network.
Hi, everybody. This is Amy Sherman, and we are talking about a lesson in forgiveness, how we can forgive on the Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living show on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. So let's finish talking about the importance of forgiveness, why we forgive, how we do it so that it enables us to live our lives fully and completely and be able to move on. Now, there are certain questions you need to ask yourself. The first question is this: am I worth more than the unsettling feeling that I feel? So are you very important that you feel that, why am I doing this to myself? Aren't I worth more than this stupid feeling that I have that I'm resenting, so-and-so over all this time? I am important, and that's what you have to ask. You tell yourself, yes, I am worth more. The second question to ask yourself is, how much effort am I willing to put into freeing myself of these negative thoughts? So you really have to put effort into it. You have to, say to yourself, look, this is what I have to do, and we're going to go over a few exercises that you can do to release the resentments. But first, how much effort am I willing to put into it? On a scale from 1 to 10, with 10 being, I'm willing to put in a lot of effort. So is it a 10 or is it only a 3? I don't feel like doing it. I hate this person. I don't want to forgive them. They deserve all they're getting, blah, 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 blah. So that's a question you need to ask. And when it's a 10, then you're ready to forgive. Number 3 is, can you take 100% responsibility for choosing to feel the way you do? In other words, you have made the decision to resent this person. You have made the decision 100% to not be able to let go. And you need to understand that it is 100% your responsibility to feel the way you feel. So understand that. And the fourth question, and this is real important, is joy and happiness a possibility for you? So can you say to yourself, I can feel happy again over this. I mean, this has kept me from feeling my joy and happiness. This resentment, this anger, these grudges that I'm holding. So can you say, yes, I am ready to feel joy and happiness again? So there are the 4 questions you have to ask yourself. Now I want to give you some exercises that you can do that will help you release, give up, get rid of, basically forgive. And each one may not be as effective as the next, but I'll give you a few of them so that you could work on them and see if this is something that will work for you. So the first one is, on a piece of paper, just write down all the things you have done wrong recently and read your list out loud and then say, I did the best I could under the circumstances with the knowledge I had at that time. If I knew better, I would have done better, and tear up the paper. And now I want you to repeat the exercise with everyone who has hurt you and say they did the best that they could under those circumstances with the knowledge that they had at that time. If they knew better, they would have done better, and experience what that statement feels like within you when you say it out loud and then tear it up again. So here's a simple exercise. Basically, you're forgiving yourself for all that you may have done in the past to hurt people. But you are also forgiving other people who have done things, because if they knew better, they probably would have done better. And if not, well, too bad on them, You're forgiving them because they should have known better. So that's exercise number 1. Number 2, take each experience that you have had in the past. This is like getting in touch with what you learned from all the experiences that you've had, negative and positive, and write down the lessons that you may have learned. So what did you learn from the lesson of having this experience with this person or persons? Acknowledge that you have actually gotten some lessons from it. Whether it's positive or negative, the lesson was still had. And once you learn the lesson, and once you acknowledge and understand what the lesson is, you could vow not to repeat that lesson again. I do not want to experience this resentment and anger again. This is just not for me, and I am not going to go through this again, so I have learned my lesson. That's basically what you want to do with this exercise. So you're going to write down the negative experiences that you have had in your lifetime and all the lessons you may have learned from it, and see if you could get past it. You know, appreciate the wisdom that you have gotten from these lessons and acknowledge that. You know, say thank you. I have learned a very important lesson from this horrible experience. And that may help you forgive and let go of what you have experienced over time. The next one, make a list of all the people you want to forgive. Include your own name, and then state the following. I forgive you, and I am moving on. I hold no grudges. My forgiveness is complete and without limitation. I am free, and so are you. And feel the sense of gratitude that you have done by just saying this, because you lifted a huge burden off of your shoulders. And now you could actually get on with your life. So if with each name, say, you know, so-and-so, I forgive you, and I am moving on. I hold no grudges. My forgiveness is complete and without limitation. I am free, and so are you. And make sure you include yourself, because I'm sure you may have done things that you feel bad about. So why not throw in yourself as a way of releasing some of this stuff that you did? Because again, if you knew better, you would have done it differently. Exercise 4. Here's another one. This one is more like a meditation. I want you to relax and go into a calm, quiet, safe place. Visualize the person you're ready to forgive. Place them in front of you in your mind's eye, but far enough away so you don't feel uncomfortable. So see this person who you really are so angry at. Imagine them laughing, smiling, and enjoying themselves. Now, this may be a hard exercise for you to do, but just see if you can do it. See if you can be comfortable in letting them go. Can you say, I release you, and I wish you the best, and then let the image fade? Visualize yourself. Do the same exercise, but visualize yourself in front of you, enjoying your life. See yourself doing things that you love to do, feeling peaceful, happy, and confident. You know, feel how good that feels. Tell yourself, I forgive myself for my past mistakes and I wish myself a wonderful life ahead. And if you have any difficulties with this exercise, tell yourself, I am willing to release the resentment and forgive, and then continue visualize positive images for yourself and for the person who has done you wrong. You know, because if you could see that person who has done you wrong living their lives and being okay with that, then you could see yourself living your life and being okay with that as well. It's a wonderful, freeing exercise. It takes a little more of an effort to see that person being happy and living their life, because I know that the feeling is you want them to be miserable because they made you miserable. But if you can, for the moment, reverse that and try this, it's very freeing. Let it go, and then let them go, and they're out of your life forever, and so be it. That's a tough one, I realize it, but it is an exercise that does work. One more exercise. Find a comfortable position again, and with your eyes closed, think about the incident that is causing you trouble, and get a good image in your mind's eye of what that is. So whatever that incident is that may have happened, give it a shape or a color. So let's say you're angry at your cousin. Imagine the anger that you have towards your cousin as a black blob or a purple pulsating circle. So here you have a color and a shape for it. Put the image in an imaginary picture frame in front of your mind, and make that image large in front of you. Enhance the color so it's very bright. And then take the picture frame with the image and move it to the back of your head. And notice how the image is not as sharp or as colorful or as clear. Perhaps it's getting faint, but you kind of know it's back there because it's still the image with the pulsating purple. Move the image from directly behind you to 50 feet behind you, and the image should really become smaller and difficult to decipher. And with the image far away, it is no longer in the forefront of your mind. So every time you think of the anger that you have for your cousin, you could do this exercise by putting your thoughts way behind you, where they'll no longer be such a pressing problem for you. And the more you do this exercise, the easier it becomes to let go of the pain and get on with your life. So here you have a few exercises that you could use to relieve yourself of of the anger that you're experiencing. And, I just want to remind you, don't forget to also forgive yourself for any actions that you may have done and that you may regret. We all would do better if we knew better. And now that you do know better, make a conscious choice to behave in more positive and productive ways so that you could really feel good about yourself. Now, this is really good for those of you who are still feeling resentment towards your exes. Do these exercises to kind of get them out of your life in that way where you can get on with your life and meet somebody wonderful. I have an example of a woman who she just could not forgive her husband after they had a brutal and extremely long divorce, and she felt his behavior was unreasonable, irrational, spiteful, and unforgivable. And he made her life so difficult in every single way, from alimony to child sharing. And when the divorce was behind her, she wanted to get on with her life, but she was having so much trouble letting go of her resentment. And it wasn't until she met this other guy that she finally realized she truly wants to be happy. So she needed to forgive her ex, and she did some of these exercises and was ready. She was able to release her past because now she wants to get on with the rest of her life. So do these exercises with your ex or to get rid of that anger and resentment that you may be harboring, because that is maybe keeping you from moving on with the rest of your life. So can you be happy? And just so you understand, happiness is really a choice. It's hard to feel happy when you feel resentful and negative and angry and, having grudges and all these other things. So you have to do whatever you can to experience happiness, because happiness is really a journey, just like forgiveness is a process. Happiness is a journey, and you'll start feeling better about your circumstances and about yourself when you make a choice again to let go of your anger and to start allowing in happiness and joy and all the other things. Happiness is an enormous feeling of contentment, pleasure, cheerfulness, and satisfaction. So can you be happy? Of course you can. Choose happiness instead of resentment. And you have the power to do that. And in order to do that, you may have to go through the healing process of forgiveness and go through all of these steps that we talked about and find that, wow, I do feel better. You need to understand that it is a process and it is something that you can do. And once you do it, another thing you can do to help enforce it and to maintain it is to take 2 to 3 minutes every day to give thanks that you have forgiven. Acknowledge that you're grateful for all that you have in your life. Take, this little exercise of just acknowledging will make a huge difference in your life. You could also, if you need to acknowledge and be grateful to somebody else who may have helped you through the process of forgiveness, call them up, thank them, express your appreciation. You could send an email, do something that will make you feel good. As you embrace the attitude of gratitude, you'll even give thanks. You can even actually, and this is important, give thanks for the negative experiences in your life, because these have become valuable lessons that we talked about in the forgiveness, one of those forgiveness lessons. They are priceless in terms of your future growth. So here you have it. You are in the process and can be in the process of forgiving those who have done you wrong. It's an amazing feeling to forgive and a worthwhile lesson to learn. So it's going to be, forgiveness is good for your emotional as well as your physical welfare. You no longer feel like a victim of your circumstances. You become the victor, and that is a very important thing. So I hope this helped. If anybody has any questions about this, I'd be happy to answer them. My email is amybethsherman@gmail.com, and this is WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. I am on the Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living Show. I hope to see you again next time. Have a wonderful day. This is Amy Sherman, and I will see you soon. Bye now.